back to Maypole Farm, and it's the end of November. We're going to be working through most of winter in this video. I'm not sure which thumbnail I've used, but I'm going to get up to something a bit different later on. But the first job is, I've spoken a lot about leasing a TMR mixer for the winter, and we are going to go for the Puma or Puma, depending on where you are, 17 HD, so that's 17,000 litres of TMR. Only needs a 90 horsepower tractor, and I'm just going to lease it through the winter, so it's going to cost us, it says £380 per day. Now, because of how FS works, I think that's per month, but we'll see. It's not going to cost us a lot, basically, and it's just going to make feeding much easier through the winter. I have also spun around the grist mill so that the spout now points into the yard. So, yeah, got that done. I am going to go and quickly customize the TMR a little bit to the ingredients that I want to use on here. So something that I've not used a lot of is brewer's grain. There is a brewer's grain buy point as part of Mace Plus, so we're going to go up to the up by the grain mill and stuff. They've got a brewer's grain buy point, so we're going to go and buy some of that in a bit. It's a nice cheap feed additive. So yeah, I guess here's our new mix. So we've got 20 to 50% hay, 10 to 75% grass or maize silage, because I want to alternate those. The brewer's grain mix, because we're making that. Beets or potatoes, because we've got loads of those. And then water. Actually, turns out we're not going to be using the water, but we'll come on to that in a bit. So yep, we are up at the grain mill and the cereal factory and stuff. I'm going to get ourselves some brewer's grain. They obviously have a side industry brewing tucked away somewhere. So yeah, it's a really cheap, you know, one of those cheap fuel types you can add in to your TMR to bulk it out a little bit. I think I'm stretching here. I think it's a higher protein feed. I'm not entirely sure on that. Someone correct me in the comments, and I think it's pretty much the same as the Stiller's grain that they use over in the US. You can either put it in a bunker or wrap it with the multi-baler to, I think you can, no, I don't think you can wrap it with multi-baler. You can put it in a bunker to turn it into fermented brewer's grain as well, but we're going to use it in its unfermented form on here. So my theory is this is kind of a Tom Pemberton like Selco, you know, I'm sure that's a grain waste product that they use, so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to store it in the same way. We're just going to tip it out on the yard and leave it out in the weather, because I don't really have anywhere else to store it. So we are still getting on here a little bit of tree flickering. We're right at the end of November, and I think that will go away when we switch into December and get the winter trees. As I said, I think I've isolated it to when the graphics card is working particularly hard, so I have made a few changes to the settings to try and ease that. So we'll see how that goes, but we're going to get this tipped here. If you didn't watch the Ohio video is going to be a bit random this week. There's an explanation in there as to why, so if you haven't watched it, you can go watch that. But yeah, these videos are going to be kind of random this week. By next weekend, I'll hopefully, one way or the other, be back to some sort of new normal. That's not clickbait, I just don't want to talk about it again. So that's that tipped out. It's Saturday, and as I said in the Ohio video, I don't normally record voiceovers on a Saturday. It is Mrs. D's birthday this weekend, and she's just gone out with the mother and grandmother-in-law. Fortunately, I was not invited. We're going to do stuff tomorrow for her birthday when it actually is. So I've got a couple of videos recorded. I'm working on a third one. So there'll be a few videos this week. I'm away, annoyingly, for a chunk of the week. Again, I was actually due to be away pretty much all week. I was expecting to go away on Monday morning and not get home until Thursday night. I have changed that around though, so I'm going to be back home on Wednesday. So I'll probably get some recording done while I'm away. I've got a couple of nights in hotels. both, well, one new hotel, one hotel that I've not stayed in for a very long time, both claim to have free internet, so we'll see how that goes. If it turns out that both of them have decent free internet, they might become new favorites. The other criteria for the second one, so the first hotel I'm paying for because one of the things I do to reduce the traveling I do with work is I only do 2 or 3 days in a week in the office, and I stay away for those. So a lot of my Mondays away are in hotels that I pay for, so I look for cheaper hotels because I'm cheap. But the criteria for the second one is also the quality of the breakfast. The hotel that I like staying in when I'm away has pretty good internet, so I can upload videos from there. Can't stream, I don't think. I can't do multiplayer from there, which is a bit annoying because I'm quite often away there on a Thursday, and the Thursday streams will be coming back. But yeah, this one does claim to have free internet, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, the other important thing is how good is the breakfast. So we'll see. Looking forward to that. Yeah, I had said I would stream this week, but my head is just not there at the moment. So a bit of a YouTuber reaction. That sounds so corny. Yeah, it's sometimes at the moment my head has not been in a space. I'm literally telling you this as I record a video. The last 2 days I have not wanted to do this at all. But today's been better, so yeah. It's to do with disco, but you can go and watch the Ohio video to find out, because I'm not talking about it again. Yeah, so there wasn't, because this is probably going to come out sometime in the week, there wasn't a multiplayer video this week, because when Kartik messaged me on Friday, it was like, no way I can sit and perform, because it said suspension of this whatever. There isn't. So 99% of what you get on here is me, but because this is not natural to me yet, still, I've been doing this for so long, and some of it is still quite a push. It's not a push in a bad way. You know, it's been awesome. I've made loads of cool friends out of it. Because it's not just me, have built a really cool little community out of it. I really enjoy my hobby, but the speaking part of it is not natural. That's why I started doing videos without speaking, and slowly more and more I have them. So although the person behind it is me, there is an element of I have to be, I can't think of the right words. I have to be able to, I want to say perform, but perform is not the right word, because this is very much me. But yeah, I have to be somewhere to be able to do videos, and Friday I was not there at all. Today I am kind of bumbling through things, because as I say, it's quite therapeutic to talk through this stuff, and you know, as much as it's really good to talk to Mrs. D about the stuff that we're working through at the moment, it's quite cool to just talk at a computer screen. Playing FS has been very good for me the last few days. I'm not playing video games quite as much. But yeah, it's been good. What I like about FS is, and I did speak about this in the Ohio video, I think, is it's one of those games, and this shows in my driving, that you can kind of play and concentrate on not 100%. So a lot like Friday afternoon when I finish work, I've been sat playing FS while watching disco. Yeah, so it's why I like games like this. It's why a game like ETS is a game I can take or leave, because you kind of have to pay attention on that. because they ain't got freaking auto drive. Yeah, so I guess I should talk about the TMR that we've made. I've put in 2,000 litres of potatoes, 1,000 litres of grain mix, 1,000 litres of brewer's grain. So that was 2 buckets, 1 bucket, 1 bucket, a bale of hay, and then silage. And the reason that I said we don't need water is I play with the weight limit on here, and we've hit the weight limit for the feed mixer. The weird way that FS handles weight of things in mixer wagons means that I have found that I also have to be careful about the order I put things in, because until you get a valid recipe, the fill type that it uses for the calculations defaults to the one that there's most of. So silage is somewhat heavier than hay. So if you put silage in first, you can't fit as much in until it turns into TMR. Yeah, I learnt that in one of the mixes I did as we progressed through, because we're going to get through to, I think, mid-January in this video, because there's basically nothing to do on the farm except for care for the animals. The only contracts that are left this month are baling contracts, and I don't want to do a baling contract in November, and once we go into December there are no contracts, and there probably won't be until March. So yeah, I'm just running this feed out, but we're going to then jump ahead. I think I might sell the milk before we jump ahead, I can't remember, but I'll then going to spend some time feeding and bedding down cows and selling milk and stuff, and we sell a bunch of slurry tanks end up getting full. Yeah, so basically we'll skip ahead to, I think, what you'll see as the thumbnail in a bit. I just want to mention Attingham. So I have 2/3 of an Attingham video recorded that I started recording on Thursday this week, or last week, depending on when this comes out, on the day the disco went to the vet. And I didn't finish recording it, and I probably now won't finish recording that until much later this week, because I don't know, if I do, it won't be an almost live video. It may not be anyway, because I might rip out some of the commentary. I need to edit some of it out because there's some stuff in there that I don't want in there. I mentioned locations of places that I don't want in there, but I may end up turning that into a video like this and recording a fresh commentary in a week or so. So what I'm half expecting at the moment this week, videos wise, is there'll have been the Ohio video, there'll be this video, I've got most of the Greenlands video recorded, and I'll probably finish up the Ohio one. I don't know what else there'll be, if I'm honest, really. I'm kind of tempted, I might end up starting up the new mini-series and get that going. Yeah, I'm just not sure. So there's probably, the Attingham video is probably going to wait, partly because I'm playing that on the new gaming PC, and because that doesn't have the issues with the flickering, and because when I'm doing the almost live videos I'm sat at the desk anyway to record the commentary, I might as well do them on the gaming PC. So that save is now on the gaming PC. That's one thing. So we have had some calves. Let's jump back to the gameplay for a second. The second batch of Holsteins have had some calves. I'm going to split those between the two sheds just to even out the feeding and things, but that means both sheds are now going to be producing milk, which is cool because we could do with the cash. So I'm running, if you don't remember, I'm running Nighthawk's more realistic milking stuff. There's a video on my channel about it. There's 2 videos, in fact, on the channel about it, and there's stuff on the Discord. So that means that we produce less milk. The milk is cyclic, but they eat less, and the eating less is really nice, if I'm honest. So it's January 1st. I've got the time running relatively quickly so that it brightens up a little bit. But we are going to do a bit of forestry. There are some things that I want to have a play with that are linked to but not from the Platinum DLC, and there's this nice little plot of land for 27 grand. So essentially Two couple of things. Let's lease some kit first, and then I'll talk about some of the why and the what we're going to do. So we're going to lease the base game Albert Bale fork or log fork because I think it works really well. I used it in my original survival challenge series, and it was pretty good. We need a trailer for logs, and I've got this Lizard 28-foot timber trailer. Again, we're going to lease it. But it's pretty cheap in terms of how trailers go. We could hang on to this and keep it. We could buy it in the... Basically, I'm thinking it would be a nice new bale trailer, but we would need to buy it to change the config, or I could just edit the config in the background to take the bale poles off. And we're going to lease the little Tush Fun. So this is the modded one. This is not the one that comes in the Platinum DLC, but it needs the Platinum DLC to work. Because I never used one of those logging winches, and they look kind of fun. And the plot of land that we have doesn't particularly need it, but I end up not using it that much, but I thought it'd be a bit of fun to try it. So the plan with the plot of land is two things. The first thing, the lumber yard on Maypole has not been built yet because there is a small dairy farm there currently. Or the non-immersion version, the plot of land that I bought to build the farm on is where the lumber yard was, so the lumber yard is underground. But I did notice that there is a biomass heating plant in the area, and they buy logs, so we're going to use that to sell on the logs. And my plan essentially is to clear that plot of land, clear the stumps out, and then probably sell it on to another farmer. So we are essentially flipping the land, or being paid to clear the land. Think of it however you want. We're essentially going to get the value of the logs for clearing it off for, maybe, I don't know, I don't want to go into all this kind of story stuff, but maybe the farmer that owns there's a field next to it, maybe he wants to extend into the field or whatever. We are essentially being paid to clear this off. There are quite a few trees, so it should pay relatively well. I don't know how much of it I'll show in the video. I don't know how long it'll take us. It might be that it becomes one of those slightly longer term projects that we just kind of chip away at when the farm's quiet. I have quite a lot of periods on here because the farm's quite small where it's quite quiet, and maybe we'll do the odd forestry video as we go through the year. Curious as to what people think on the best way to do that. I am probably... Obviously half of this video is forestry. I'm probably going to do a bit more of it in the winter time. I am curious as to whether you guys want to see that or just want to see the result of it. So as much as I moaned about the Platinum DLC because I don't think there should have been a DLC for just forestry, there are some cool things in it, but as a whole, I'd have much rather seen them invest the development time into other aspects of farming that would have been, someone's going to say, and someone will make sure they say it, forestry is farming, they're farming trees. Yes, I know that. Thank you very much. It's not the farming that people associate when you say farming simulator, in my mind. So, yeah, I'd have rather they invested the money in developing other bits of the game, but I'm not averse to chopping down the odd tree. So we're going to get ourselves a chainsaw and we're going to chop down some trees. I did I did the classic starting with a plot of land, a truck and a chainsaw series at the start of FS22. And there was a lot of forestry in that. I don't mind it. FS22, the forestry is much better, particularly now. I did not have a single tree explode, which is really nice. And when I was doing this before, I had a lot of exploding trees in that old series, and they got to the point where you really couldn't do much with them, and you had to basically try and mulch them or whatever, or somehow manhandle them onto a trailer and drag them to the sell point. But I didn't have any of that with this, so yeah, it is quite nice. I am going to attempt to, the way that I like to do forestry like this is, it's one that Mr. CDP uses as well. I'll come on to him in a bit. Is cut myself a measuring stick. So what I want to try and do is drag the tree so that the light end of the tree is in line with the end of the trailer. We'll cut the light bit off. It should be pick up a bull, and then we can use that to measure the logs that we cut. The problem that we will see in a moment, so I've never used one of these things, but it seems really natural to use. It's really cool. See, now Giants have implemented it in the DLC. It's, the animations are all really good and stuff. I never used it in 19. It was obviously a PC only mod in 19, but I never used it. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, so this doesn't work. So I end up having to pick it up with the forks. Mr. CDP. Many of you will be fans of Mr. CDP and will hopefully have seen that his channel was hacked. As of the last time I looked at his Discord, which would have been Friday, he's got his Google account back, I think, and is in the process of getting his YouTube account back. I believe that it is quite common with this type of hack that although the channel appeared to have no videos, they get set to private rather than deleted. So hopefully all his videos are still there. But yeah, it was quite interesting. Someone on his Discord shared a video of another YouTuber that had it happen. And it's quite advanced how they say. Some of you are probably screaming because everyone in his Discord saying, oh, he just needs two-factor authentication, and this would not happen because it would have asked his telephone or his two-factor authentication, and that would have stopped it. No. The video that was shared of another bigger YouTuber that was hacked, they sent some malicious code in what looked like a promotional PDF for a sponsorship deal, and that malicious code cloned the Google Chrome sessions that were running, which included Gmail, which therefore included access to all his Google two-factor authentication and everything else. So essentially instantly bypassed two-factor authentication, because they were then instantly logged into his stuff. The first thing they do is they change all your passwords, they change your two-factor authentication, because if you're logged in, you can change the two-factor authentication on Google without having to re-enter your two-factor authentication details. So yeah, and he's not the only person to have fallen for it. A fairly, I think it's Jim Broadbent, a massive tech YouTuber, had his account hacked using a very similar approach. So before people jump in and say, oh, they were just naive or whatever, having seen the email, I don't know if I would have fallen for it personally. And the guy that fell for it, he ran the executable through Windows Defender and it came back completely clean. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, they're really targeting big YouTube channels that are likely to get these kind of sponsorship or collaboration requests coming in. And what they did with his, if you didn't see, is they renamed it to Ethereum Live. I think they're usually cryptocurrency based at the moment, and they started live streaming something. I didn't click on it to watch it, and I assume that basically because they target a YouTube channel with 100,000, a couple of 100,000 subscribers, maybe more, they're hoping that a couple of people that click on the live stream will click on whatever the next part of the scam is, and they'll get access to their stuff. So the other bit, I think, is it wasn't particularly targeted at Mr. CDP. I think they just target a collection of larger YouTube channels because they want channels that have an audience, and those that unfortunately fall victim to it, they take the channel over, and yeah. We now wait because he's a good guy, and I can't imagine how stressful that would be. Particularly, this is a hobby for me still. I could apart from the whole, your internet security information being leaked, I could, it wouldn't affect my day-to-day livelihood. It doesn't. It stopped me buying nice toys. That's what I've been doing with the money from YouTube mostly. And I could start again. Probably it'd be another slow, painful grind. It'd probably take forever to get back to 1,000 subscribers. But but when you're 100,000+ subscribers and it's your job, it would be massively stressful. So yeah, the last I saw, he's got his Google account back, and hopefully that means YouTube are helping him get everything sorted with YouTube, and he may even be back by the time this video is out. But yeah, it was kind of an eye-opener because I immediately went and sorted out all my two-factor authentication. I actually had it on the account that I used for this, but I didn't have it on my actual Google account. That's the real person that sits behind this. Yes, there is a real person behind this. And so I went and did it on that, and then I saw this video and it was like, two-factor authentication doesn't matter because stuff gets around it. So yeah, that was an eye-opener, and it's gonna make, I'm generally, pretty much every email that I receive that I'm not expecting to arrive, I assume is spam. It's something that I get trained on at work, and it's I just assume that it's a scam. I have in the past had phone calls from, I think it was a phone call from my bank that was completely unsolicited, and I refused to give them any information because how do you know it's the bank? I hung up and phoned them back. It was actually the bank, but that's the kind of paranoid that I am with this stuff. And I think it just goes to show that you probably need to be. I'm not in a place where I am getting emails from any companies, legitimate or not, for collaborations or all that kind of stuff, and that's a whole other can of worms, in my opinion. And we are not going to open that today. So I had recorded the whole commentary for this video, but the stuff that I went into rambling about, I was not happy to publish in a video. So this is take 2, and it's Monday. That means it's video recording or commentary recording Monday. This video was due to come out on Monday, but as I said, I was not happy with the direction I went with my ramble on that. So my only experience really with talking to people who have had, I guess, endorsement deals or deals offered is chatting to Paul. The farming agency did have an offer from a PC supplier to supply them with computers for streaming, but they were not happy that basically from the sound of it, the PC had to be the center of the stream, which is obviously not how people like Paul work. So yeah, anywho, Monday I'm in another hotel. I'll probably end up talking about that in another video. So I am curious as to just how much forestry people want to see in this little diversion into to forestry on here. So my plan is to, I don't know whether I said or not. If I did, I apologize. It's been a long few days with stuff going on in the real world, and I've been at work all day today. My plan is to clear this plot of land. I think I did talk about that on the way down from the store, actually. But what I'm not sure about is how much to show. So yeah, stick a comment below of how much I should show. I'm so talented. And yeah, let me know, and we'll see how much forestry I do on camera. I said this is going to be a little bit of a long-term project, which just means we need to keep some of this forestry stuff leased. I think we can probably return the Taifan. I don't think we really need that for what we're doing on here, but we'll keep the log fork, we'll keep the trailer. I did say I think that I might keep the trailer on a long-term lease. looking to replace our current bale trailer, so we can do multi-roll on that. You know, pretty sure you could take those logging arms off and run that as a bale trailer in the summer. So we'll see how we get on. What I'm going to attempt to do here is make use of the tush fan. I think this is the first time I've used it successfully. So I used it unsuccessfully earlier in the video. Unfortunately, I do hook up to the wrong log first, but the plan is to try and pull all of the logs in line so that we can pick them up in one go. I love how Giants have set this up. So I did not play with it in FS19, but I love that you essentially have a remote for the winch and you can use it from a distance. Makes it really useful, because I guess the sorts of things that you might be doing with this are what I'm doing. Or if you've got fairly dense woodland and you don't want to take the tractor in, you might be winching logs out and you don't have to keep running back to the tractor to run the winch. Or maybe if you're on some hillsides and you're trying to pull logs up, and again, you probably want to be with the logs rather than up with the tractor initially. But my goal here is literally just to drag this log so it's in line with the next one, hook that up, and then drag the two so they're in line with the other one. I love the detail on this, the animation and the cables and the hooks. It's just really nice. It's my first time using one of these, and I had quite good fun with it, if I'm honest. But I don't think we need to keep it, really. You know, I'm kind of making jobs for it, rather than actually needing to use it to do this. It maybe sort of makes this easier. Maybe see how much it costs to lease it. It's been a while since I've done forestry seriously in FS, and I'm hoping that this will be a half decent earner. There's a decent amount of trees to clear in here. We'll need to get a stump grinder in to clear all the stumps out, and then, as I said, we'll probably sell this plot of land back to the landowner of the field next door. One of the things that I spoke about in a previous video, I don't remember if it was a Patreon video or not, and it's something that I want to apply on here, is I want the farm to keep getting bigger and too big necessarily. Because, I mean, like the Greenlands farm and the Greenlands farm, really, some of the stuff on there takes so long because the farm is so big, and so I want to keep this farm smaller. It's naturally kind of staying that way anyway. If we end up with decent amount of cash, we'll just be buying kit, you know. What I would probably consider doing is expanding the contracting side of what we do. So, you know, hiring more workers, but having to have the kit to support them. So, you know, maybe we can have 3 or 4 workers working for us eventually and go into more of a kind of contracting side of thing. It would fit in with kind of what I'd planned to do on here through the winter, but with the stuff that I have going on with Disco, I'm not kind of in the mega creative phase, but I'm enjoying playing farm sim. It's a really nice distraction until you do that and miss. But yeah, so what I'm not going to say, because I might do it on somewhere else, but it might sort of work on here in the future. So take these logs up to the biomass heating plant. So one of my issues, and again I do not remember if I mentioned it, is what was the lumber yard on here was cleared to build the farmyard that we have, and so I was thinking I wouldn't have a wood sell point, but there's a biomass heating plant up here at the kind of industrial complex, so we do have somewhere to sell the wood, which is really cool. I am not too sure how much we're going to get, but at this point, and I'll need to remember because it's slightly different to the first time I did it, I'm going to say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate you all supporting the channel. You guys are awesome. And I just want to say thank you to the community as well. I'm not talking about it much because it's kind of rough at the moment, but the messages and the sympathy and stuff with Disco being ill is really cool. I really do appreciate all of that as well. Fingers crossed for this week. Anyway, we are back where we should be. So again, as well, I'm going to say thanks for watching. Comments, questions, suggestions, all below. Let's get this wood sold and see how much we are going to make. So 5 grand, that's not bad for, I can't remember how many trees, but a not full load. So yeah, I will see you next time on Maypole Farm.